All right, AP Environmental Science. This is Unit 8. We're still covering topics 8.2 to 8.8. We're going to kind of finish that up today. So, just kind of as a quick refresher here, we've been kind of looking at several different categories of water pollution. We've already covered sediments, thermal pollution, eutrophication, heavy metals, oil spills, and we talked about persistent organic pollutants, otherwise known as POPs. Today, in this really short video, I'm going to cover endocrine disruptors. And then in the next video, I'll get into solid waste. Solid waste is a really big topic. There's a lot of different things to cover with it. So I'm going to make a couple of separate videos about that one. So in this video, again, I want to focus on endocrine disruptors. And endocrine disruptors are chemicals, and there's a lot of different ones out there. Again, too many to list that interfere with the normal functioning of hormones in an organism's body. Now, this could be humans, it could be fish, it could be amphibians, it could be a lot of different organisms. But we're going to talk a little bit about humans today, and then kind of briefly, just kind of reference some other organisms as well. Um, One thing that we have to understand, I think, before we kind of get into endocrine disruptors, is we have to sort of understand what a hormone is. For example, in the human body, there's dozens and dozens of different hormones that we make. Some are common to males, some are common to females. Some hormones everybody makes, but hormones are basically little chemical messages, that get sent from one part of the body to another. A really good example of a hormone that we produce is something called insulin. You've probably all heard of insulin before, but insulin is a chemical. It's a hormone that's produced by your liver, or correction, it's produced by your pancreas, and it's actually sent to your liver, through the bloodstream, and it basically communicates with your liver and helps to regulate your blood sugar. So, it's kind of a way that two different organs in our body can actually communicate with one another to help regulate your blood sugar. If you know anybody who's diabetic, or has blood sugar problems, that all has to do with that hormone disruption. So, what I want to kind of look at today is just kind of an example of hormone production and what endocrine disruptors can do to disrupt the process of that hormone working and doing what it's supposed to be doing in the body. So, the example that we're going to look at today is testosterone production. So, testosterone is a male hormone. It's the hormone that makes males males. It's not only found in humans, but again, it's found in fish, it's found in amphibians, and lots of other animals as well. But kind of taking a look at these three pictures, I want you to focus first on picture A. This picture A on the left here, this is kind of the normal process of how testosterone production works in not only humans, but in other animals. So, for example, these little green boxes here, okay, these little green squares, they represent hormones that are produced by your brain. And in males, these hormones that are produced by our brain, they go to our testes, and they basically tell the testes, or they tell the cells in your testes to basically make testosterone, and that's what they do. So here you have the hormones that are produced by the brain. Again, those hormones go to different cells in the body, and then in the male body, estrogen, which is actually a female hormone, but it's actually produced in both males and females. Males, we actually take estrogen and we convert it into testosterone, which gives males all of their secondary sex characteristics, like a deeper voice and growing facial hair and all that type of stuff. So this picture on the left is just kind of showing you what's normal, right? Those green hormones, not green, but they're not always green, but in this case they're green. And again, those are produced by one part of the body. They go to another part of the body, and that stimulates something to happen. In this case, testosterone gets produced. Now, in picture B, what we're seeing is the response to endocrine disruptors getting into the body. So these disruptors are chemicals that disrupt this process of, in this case, producing testosterone or whatever other hormone they're disrupting. So again, here you have your little green hormone. Let's say this is the hormone being sent from the brain. And then these little pink guys here, these are what we call hormone mimics. They're a type of disruptor. So they're found in different types of chemicals. So if they get into our body, what they do is they take the place of our normal hormones. They mimic those are our regular hormones. And what that can produce is something called an altered response. So basically, normal testosterone is not going to be produced. And maybe it won't get produced at all, or maybe it'll be produced in less amounts than normal. The problem is again, these hormone mimics, they're not supposed to be in the body, but for whatever reason, they're getting into the body and they're altering that production of that hormone. Now, in part C here, it's kind of a similar thing. Some endocrine disruptors are what we call hormone blockers, which means they completely block the ability of a hormone to work. So in this case, you'll see that these little green hormones, which are, again, the hormones that need to get to the testes, they're being blocked by those little red guys, those little red endocrine disruptors. And when they get blocked, then you don't get the response at all. So in this case, no testosterone gets produced. And that way, those secondary sex characteristics won't get produced either. And we talked last week about the Chesapeake Bay and those fish that were hermaphroditic and they were turning females. That was all because of these different types of endocrine disruptors that get into the water and cause these problems. So, there's actually a lot of different things that can lead to this. There's been endocrine disruptors that have been found in pesticides. They've been found in plastics. They've been found in industrial waste. They've even been found in human waste because these endocrine disruptors can actually pass through our body. And when they end up in human waste and they end up in rivers and streams, then those things can be passed on from one organism to the next. Again, this can lead to a lot of reproductive issues for organisms. It could be low sperm counts in males. Could even lead to, like what I talked about earlier, some organisms turning hermaphroditic or even turning into females. So endocrine disruptors are a problem. The one big thing that I would kind of know about them is I would kind of understand, again, what they do to just kind of alter the normal response of a hormone, or in some cases, either completely block it. All right, guys, that's endocrine disruptors. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. If you have any questions on that, make sure you send me an email. I'd be happy to answer those for you. All right, guys, have a good day, and I will see you soon.